Hello, and welcome to Retail Focus. I'm John Suter, and I'm here with my co-host, Bart Mraz.
Hello, my friend.
Hello. Before we get started today, Bart, why don't you tell us what your awesome thing is?
It's 7 days till opening day of the Phillies.
We'll have to talk about our recording schedule because we usually record on Thursday mornings, but I won't be here, so there's that.
Fine.
My awesome thing, it's the first day of spring. You know what? I feel reborn. I feel like a phoenix rising from Arizona.
Unfortunately, it's cloudy and gloomy and stuff.
Cloudy and gloomy. But you know what? My awesome thing for real is birds. Birds are back. I love birds. We have a lot of birds.
You know who also loves birds?
Who?
Betsy Jennings.
Who's Betsy Jennings?
I'm Betsy Jennings, and I love birds. Remember the bird feeder thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, birds. The birds are back. We have a lot of active, very vocal birds behind my house. And last year, I got really curious about the birds because I like to feed the birds and they're very cool. I found this app called Merlin. It's by Cornell University. You basically, when you hear the birds, you open the app, you tap record, it listens for the birds, and it correctly identifies the birds that are singing.
Nice.
It's called Merlin ID. I'm going to open it up real quick. It's neat. So yesterday morning was very active, and we had, because it's cool, it saves all your bird listenings. Anyway, yesterday was a very busy day by the house. It identified robins, cardinals, house sparrows, house wrens, which I didn't know we had wrens around here, and of course the usual crows and mourning doves. So yeah, we got some bird. It's very cool. It's called Merlin. I think Merlin ID.
What is an average flight of a sparrow?
The average flight of a sparrow. Well, they usually hang around the house. I don't think they go.
American or Africans? Anyway, speaking of flights.
Yeah, speaking of flights, for our first story, Southwest ends bags fly free. Oh boy. End of an era. Well, it's official, folks. Southwest Airlines is ditching the beloved bags fly free policy. Starting May 28, most passengers will have to shell out for checked bags, marking a significant shift for the airline that once prided itself on being the customer's best friends. Of course, there are exceptions. If you're a Rapid Rewards A-List preferred member, you still get 2 free checked bags. A-List members, just plain old A-List members, get 1 free bag. Business Select fares also come with 2 free checked bags. Holders of Southwest's co-branding credit card can check 1 bag for free. All right, so why the change? Private equity, of course. Southwest is under pressure from activist investors like Elliott to boost revenue and profitability. The airline hopes this move will attract new customers and encourage loyalty program enrollments. Blah, 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 blah. But let's be real, it's just about joining the rest of the airline industry and charging for everything under the sun. Loyal customers are not thrilled. The change, combined with the upcoming shift to assigned seating, might just make Southwest feel like any other airline. So if you're planning a trip, book before May 28th to avoid those pesky fees. Otherwise, get ready to pay up.
Hey, wasn't Southwest the only airline that was actually making money?
I believe at the time that might have been true. I didn't.
So why? It just makes no sense.
Because private equity, man, they're just going to turn it into every other airline.
Yeah, and that's like, it's not going to be special. It's not going to be any of that. I mean, I like Southwest. Now it's assigned seating. That's just kind of silly. That's what made them special. Just that.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember after 9/11, the airline industry obviously didn't do so great.
Yeah.
They were the first, and they had that really captivating commercial. You're now free to move about the country.
Yeah.
That was iconic. I personally, Southwest, last time I probably flew on Southwest was 2017 to Las Vegas. I don't know why I remember that little tidbit, but we used to get some good package deals from there.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me, I kind of fell in love with the Clearwater, Tampa area, and that was the airline that kind of got me there because they offered us a package at Clearwater Beach at the brand new Hyatt Hotel with airfare for like $1,300, which we couldn't.
Yeah, it was nothing. Yeah,
Nothing.
It was great. I mean, all of them are going a certain way. At some point, it's like, Spirit and Frontier and all that. And like JetBlue is even becoming a little different. At some point, you're like, well, what's the point of those airlines? Just fly the big boys, right?
Yeah. Spirit just came out of bankruptcy, so they're ready to take on Southwest. I don't think I've ever flown them. I've flown Frontier once to Fort Lauderdale. That was a big mistake because with the baggage, it still wound up costing me the same as an American flight. So
Spirit's the same thing. But you have to pay for everything, like literally everything. And
yeah, lesson learned. So I know you have your preferences. I know you like Delta. I fly in and out of Tampa all the time, so American Airlines is the way to go for me. Plus, everything works out great. So I don't even price shop anymore because if I find a cheaper flight, it's got a layover, and I don't want to take 15 hours to get to Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because obviously I was used to be American because I lived in Philly, so it was U.S. Air became American, and then through COVID I lost all my like status because I didn't fly anywhere. And then everybody around here like we went with Delta. It's fine, it works. I like Delta. And I fly United here and there for work. But and then like it was the same thing with like. I mean, also that stuff has changed, like having access to lounges and stuff like that. That has changed a lot too. Like it used to be like, it's great to have a lounge because you're like, it's the same kind of money. You're going to spend food and stuff like that. Like at some point, the budget stuff doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, you're going to take luggage, you're going to take a thing. And like the Spirit Airline stuff, how many people go, well, this bag is too big for our thing. You have to pay up like $50. You're like, it fits in the thing. Like you have these arguments.
Right. And you're there. What are you do? Okay, let me just throw some of my clothes out.
I just, yeah, I don't know. It's just a little, this whole, I don't know. At some point, it's like, where are we going with this, you know?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because you look at how they do air travel in Europe and Asia. I mean, you have Emirates. Have you seen the commercial for?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you're paying for that. I mean, the European ones. I mean, I've heard Ryanair coming into the US at some point. Would be a thing.
Did they put the seats inside the plane yet, or are they still doing the open carriage?
You know, we can make fun of Ryanair, but if you think about it, it's also short distance, not like here.
Right.
I mean, here we consider Florida a short distance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like from us, from Northeast, like that's what we consider short distance, right? Because a 2.5 hour flight is short for us.
Sure.
Whereas in Europe, those flights are an hour of that. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a difference between it. Like Ryanair is just a commuter air, basically.
Well, they also compete against rail in Europe because it's so much more efficient and dependable and safer to a lot of people. All right. So there's an anecdote that I discovered about Southwest, and it wasn't even related to this story. I was reading a book. The book's called Traction. I'm going to have to lend you this book, Bart. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an anecdote about Herb Kelleher, the legendary former CEO of Southwest Airlines, known for his humor and customer-centric approach. A dissatisfied customer named the Pen Pal would frequently write complaints to the airline about various aspects of its operation, everything from the boarding process to the casual uniforms of flight attendants. After receiving yet another letter from this customer, Kelleher personally responded with a brief note that read, "Dear Mrs. Crabapple, we will miss you. Love, Herb."
The chain smoking CEO, man. Herb was a legend, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of a legendary customer service. But his point was, we have a certain type of customer, and if you're continually not going to want to be that customer, you're free to go. Listen, bag, you can fly free.
Well, I mean, Kevin is it Kevin? No, what's his Nealon, which was JetBlue. He used to work for Herb. That's where all I come. Yeah,
Kevin Nealon from Saturday Night Live ran JetBlue. Cool.
Really? I mean, he has like multiple airlines now and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's Herb was an interesting character.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look. I'm sure there's some books about him. He seems like an interesting cat.
Yeah, he definitely is. Moving on.
All right, next story. Alexa has got a big update coming on. Alexa is pulling the plug on its do not send voice recording features for Echo devices starting March 28th, 2025. What does it mean? It means all your Alexa commands will now be sent to Amazon's cloud, whether you like it or not. Sure, they'll delete the recordings after processing, but privacy advocates are understandably unimpressed. This change is tied to the shiny new Alexa Plus, a generative AI assistant that apparently needs all your data to function. Amazon promises expanded capabilities, but sacrifices local processing and personalized features like Voice ID. Critics aren't buying it and argue this shift undermines consumer trust, especially given Amazon's history of privacy violations, including fines for mishandling children's data and Ring camera footage. Privacy advocates worry this change could lead to continuous surveillance as all interactions will pass through Amazon servers. While Amazon emphasizes encryption and security measures, many users feel uneasy about losing control over their data. Some have expressed frustration online with concerns ranging from accessibility challenges to fear of unwanted data collection. Affected devices include Echo Dot 4th generation, Echo Show 10, and Echo Show 15. So if you're not thrilled about handing over more of your data, you might want to rethink your smart home setup or just yell at your thermostat the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, it knows it's bad to happen. They got to train it. It makes sense.
That's what a lot of people don't realize. AI just doesn't come from thin air. It's got to be trained on something. So what better to train their devices on people using the actual devices day to day?
I mean, I assume it was sending stuff up there anyway. And if it's sending me yelling at it for 15,000 times to turn the TV off or the lamp or something else, be it.
No, I like when it just jumps in the middle of a conversation. You're like, "Excuse me, where's I talking?"
It's always something, right? The other thing is like, I was waiting for it's amazing that it took him this long to throw the AI stuff in it.
Yeah.
You think they have all this data and stuff like that, which is tricky. We'll see how it works. So far, the other lady in the tube has kind of been disappointing.
Yeah.
We'll see how this one does.
Yeah.
But any one of them has been pretty disappointing.
I'm telling you, I keep trying, because we talk about it a lot. I'm like, you know what? I should really try to use Siri. And I found myself just going to Perplexity or ChatGPT. It's,
yeah, it's so much faster. It's so slow.
And that's the type of things that I'm looking for. I want something a little deeper instead of, I'm sorry, I couldn't find it for you. Or here's an article you can look at. Oh, great.
I don't want to look at it. It's okay, right?
Here's an article you can look at.
Perplexity and ChatGPT will do it for you. It's so much, I don't know. It's just a different.
Yeah.
You're all of a sudden spoiled by that kind of technology. And it's and Siri's integrated into ChatGPT. It's like, what is happening?
Somebody said to me today, "Oh, you're really getting a lot out of that AI, aren't you?" And I said, you know what? It has completely changed the way I do things in that the time savings that I've been able to incorporate in some of these AI tools, I can't imagine going back to the old-fashioned way. Things would just take so much longer.
It's so much faster. I do a lot of my searching now. I don't even go Google anymore. I just go searching through Google, or I have it open.
So if I'm, kind of laying in bed in the morning, I'll check my email and then I'll go on Perplexity and they have a summary. I don't know what they call it, but there's one of the little buttons. It's basically like the Google homepage.
Yeah.
And it goes and it finds all these super interesting stories. And it's not just, political stuff or Elon Musk. It's like there was a story yesterday. Statues in ancient Greece actually had smells to them. I would have never found that random piece of nonsense anywhere.
Oh man, it makes trivia so much better almost.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's really interesting stuff. And then you could see users do these collections, and then they put a whole page together about Greek statues, and it's fascinating. And because I love to learn, so there you go. There's your tip of the day. AI tip of the day. Check out Perplexity, kids.
Yeah.
All right. Anything more to say about Alexa?
Just all the vibes, baby.
All the vibes. All right. Speaking of vibes, we're going to get into something called vibe coding. Okay. And speaking of Perplexity, this is where I found this little tidbit. So, how we always joked about how AI is going to replace all our jobs? Well, it seems like it's actually happening, but in a weirdly cool way. Vibe coding is the latest trend where developers essentially tell AI what they want, and voila, the code magically appears. And I'm going to put that in air quotes. It's like having an uber efficient code monkey minus the bananas. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about those long nights spent learning Python and debugging PHP? Was it all for nothing? Kind of. It turns out that AI can now write code faster and maybe even better than most, but not all humans. The good news is that humans get to focus on the fun stuff, designing systems and telling AI what to do. See, I'd be good at that. This shift is changing how we teach coding too. Forget about memorizing syntax. The new curriculum is all about learning how to boss around AI assistants effectively. And let's be real, there are some pretty big benefits here. Dev teams are more efficient, projects are getting done faster, and the industry is more accessible to people who may not have been interested in coding before. Maybe this is the start of a tech utopia where coders can finally pursue their real passions, such as playing video games or binge watching Netflix. But the flip side is that it raises some pretty deep questions. What does it mean to be a developer if AI does all the grunt work? Are we just too lazy to do the tedious parts ourselves? Or are we just evolving to where we should be, using tools to automate tasks so we can focus on the higher level cool stuff? Either way, vibe coding is the new cool kid on the block, and it's changing everything from coding boot camps to tech startups. So whether you're a serious developer or just starting out in the coding world, you know things are about to get a serious reboot. Bart, I know that you have thoughts. I saw you shaking your head over there and giggling and laughing and chortling and snorting and...
Vibe coding, where 2 engineers can now create a tech debt of 50.
It's good.
Dude, I get it. We're just gonna... My problem is giving AI to junior developers who do not understand actual coding patterns, actual security, actual how version control works, actual things. Sorry, it's a tool to use. You can't give people do that. There's so many stories now lately. We were just reading something about somebody was doing something in Cursor, which is like the no code, AI stuff to build something for 4 months, and they screwed something else. They didn't know that. Everybody's like, you did not use version control. Like, that's your first go-to. And they're like, what's version control?
Yeah.
That's a problem for security,
I agree with you.
or any one of those things. Like, all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of apps out there in the world where people just put them out there and you have no idea if it's secure, properly done,
right,
or everything working, or anything else.
Right. Yeah. And what I was going to say, matching your concerns with that, here's the way I think it should go is that you should learn the basics. You should learn syntax. You should learn all the things about security and all the things about that you need to know. Then, and only then, can you lean on this as an assistant for your job. It is not. I do not think it should replace developers completely.
It's like telling a 30-year veteran of electrician that you wired your 220 panel by watching YouTube video.
You're right.
Like,
is that bad?
I mean, like, seriously, like, I don't, like, okay, that makes no sense. Or like a surgeon, like, oh, I just learned it on YouTube, so I'm going to use this robot to shoot this new brain surgery.
I learned it on TikTok.
I mean, that's what's happening. I mean, this is like exaggeration of it, but like in reality, yeah, it's actually happening. It's like, it's all the script kiddies that just run stuff from like Reddit and found, clips of it. I'm not poo-pooing like AI is good for things, but learn the patterns, learn the actual, like, there's a reason all these developers and engineers actually learn things from the beginning, because it's important. And in reality, crappy input into AI, you're going to get crappy output.
Crappy in, crappy out. Yeah.
Can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's a reason for this. So yes, I'm proposing. I get it. I get people are doing stuff faster, but that's your trial. Actually use people who know how to use the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I get this whole vibe coding. I don't need developers. I'm just going to do it myself. Okay. Good luck with that.
Right. So you're just a prompt guy now.
Right.
You're a prompt guy. You're a prompt guy that doesn't know exactly what's happening under the hood. You're a mechanic who fixed a car, but turned a screw and didn't know how it got fixed, but the car still runs. Oh, well.
And you have all these people who are copying apps and stuff like that without understanding what the business model looks like. What's the down to earth? Like, there's so much that goes on in architecture. You don't understand how complex the tech is. I get it. You want to be like fast and efficient, whatever, but there's a price for that.
Okay. So let's go the other way. What are the benefits?
Speed. I mean, senior developers using it, it's just speed. It's writing their test cases faster. It's doing documentation faster.
So you think
there's some cleanup?
Right. Okay. I was going to say cleanup or generating a quick MVP or prototyping like that. That is where I think, as long as you don't go too far with it, then you say, oh, well, this prototype can now be the product. And then you realize your version one,
image right
something
there,
really bad going on.
like this day and age kind of things of like moving from old code to new, like sort of like going from Cobalt to Java, right?
So
There's a way to write an AI right now to do it, but then you have a pattern for that. You can move it to other codes and stuff like that. Test cases, like there's a whole bunch of this kind of things that you can do. So it's like maintenance things that you don't have to, write from scratch, right? But that's kind of stuff has been happening because that's automation, right?
Yep.
It makes stuff faster and easier, but you still got to know what's going under the hood.
Yeah. You can't just twist those screws and hope the car is going to start in the morning.
So, and you see you talk to any senior developer who's been around for a very long time, they'll all be like, this is just silly. The vibe coding thing is like another script kiddie trying things they know better,
Okay, let's look into the future. Guys like you and Bob who have got serious, experience under your belt. What happens when you guys retire and the script kiddies are now the senior developers? What do you think is going to be happening?
Well, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to go away. There's plenty of people who get trained properly. There's definitely those kind of things where it's going to come up. I mean, but that's, what? This kind of stuff happens every single cycle. I mean, as we've seen this over and over and over. We've been in tech for so long. It's not the first time we've seen this.
Yeah, and I'll draw an analogy to what's happening in the design market now. I read something this morning that to really stand out as a designer anymore, you have to create things that look like, because everyone is so, and we're talking on the corporate level.
Yeah.
When you're trying to present something, you want to have a differentiation, and everything is starting to have that AI look to it. And now companies are starting to hire people that have more of a traditional art background or style, or something that looks more organic. So I guess the analogy is saying you have to fight harder to look more natural than you do than just be AI.
Sure. I mean, that's everything, right? That's in writing too, right? If you start not using AI actually write, you can see it. It's not that hard, right? Like, but that goes for design, that goes for writing. There's like, be human being, right? Use the tool for what you need it for. I would say it's a little slightly different in the development work or the coding world because of security, right? Because of those kind of things, right? It's payments, it's security. Those kind of things are, I think, a little more higher than that, right? Like design work, it's, not diminishing that, but there's a difference, right?
I know.
You design one thing, it's not going to break, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, see, that's why when I was a young struggling artist, I also wanted to be a coder, and I learned very quickly that you can't skeet and scat and ski bum the bow on code. It's got to be perfect. Whereas an artist can just spill a little paint and throw a little thing around here and there. It's a lot different. So,
and I'm not diminishing style and understanding user experience and that kind of stuff. It's just, security wise, the code is a little more.
And in this day and age, security is probably front and foremost of what everyone should be worrying about.
Yeah. Because the last thing you want is one of these vibe coders did an app and somebody puts their credit card in and it gets stolen really quickly and it was happening. Like somebody was posting and was like, oh my, he's like, I posted, there's a whole thread of somebody posting. It was like, oh, I did this. And then 2 days later, oh my God, I just got killed because everybody's hacking my app on the thing. And he's like, and they're just doing it for fun because they're proving you that you should not be doing this and actually have some skill.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. There's a whole thread about
this. That is frightening. That is frightening.
Yeah. I mean, the people were not like hacking it. They were just like in the, whatever the app this was, like they were just writing messages in, like
they're toying with the man.
Yeah. Well, they were definitely toying with him.
That's a shame. All right. Anything more on vibe coding?
No.
All right.
If you're going to do it, learn good pattern, like actually learn things.
Learn patterns, learn syntax, learn the basics, man. Learn security. And you know what? And we may poo-poo the YouTubes, but there's plenty of YouTube out there that can get you closer than you were before.
Correct.
Continuous learning. That's what I'm all about. Continuous learning. All right, we're going to close it up. We're getting close to 30 minutes. That's it for this week. We hope you learned something, but if not, at least you wasted some time. Next week with more questionable advice and unsolicited opinions. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. If you prefer the video experience, you can check out the YouTube channel. And lastly, check us out on the socials. We are on Bluesky, Twitter, Facebook, and sign up for our newsletter where you'll get extended show recaps and behind-the-scenes info on the show. Links are in the show notes. Bart, closing thoughts.
Bluesky, I always love it.
Bluesky.
Closing thoughts. Have a fantastic week, people. And
happy spring. Happy spring.
Happy spring.
We'll publish at some point next week. It may be a little earlier due to baseball because, priorities and such. So until next time, may your internet be fast, your video calls be clear, and your mute button always work when you need it most.
Or not.
Or not. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
What do you do now,